Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for college football again here at DDS Sports Talk. You guys loved these last year. We're kicking it off with the least sexy division in all of football, the B1G West. Here it comes. Get ready. DDS Sports Talk Prediction Show. Yes, it is, and we are live here in the DDS studios. Blake Melton and Bradley Newberry, Matthew Two-Tone Blue Parker. He is in the man cave. Buddy, it is great to see you again.
It's good to be back. I don't know what you're talking about. Boring. I love Big Ten basketball in the West, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Loves it so much. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to get into this first team. This first team disappointed me last year.
They disappointed a lot of people, and they had an interesting offseason, too.
I'll tee him up here. I can't wait to hear Parker's breakdown here. We're going to Northwestern. Last year, they earned a 1-11 record. They were 1-8 in the conference. Head coach Pat Fitzgerald, the worst offense in the conference at 13.8 points per game. The bottom in the defense as well, over 28 points per game given up. When you step back and look at this, I was thinking, how do they even start to get better? I mean, they lose Skoronsky to the Tennessee Titans. And you know what I think about line play, offensive line, defensive line.
Yep.
What about Parker, their running back, Mr. Everything? Evan Hull, 1,459 yards, 7 touchdowns. They're not going to replace that production, right?
No, but even if they could, what good did that do for them last year? One game? Yay, congrats. It was the worst season that they'd had in 34 years. They beat Nebraska. We were like, oh, my God, what could they do? They literally did nothing. They haven't won a game on American soil since October 16th, 2021, and they did that against the almighty powerful Rutgers. I'm not going to go through them all. You just mentioned how bad the offense was, but they were almost dead last in every single category. You mentioned in the Big Ten they were the worst in points per game. When I say they're almost dead last in every single category, I don't mean the Big Ten. I mean the country. They didn't even score 10 points in 6 of their last 8 games. On top of that, you just mentioned it. They lost their best player. They can only go down, and they only won 1 game.
Well, you want to know how you get better. For me, it's all about culture. You know, being a Tennessee fan, we've been through bad culture.
No, they had some culture issues in the offseason.
That's what I'm saying. For me, you know, if you want to get better, it starts at the top. It starts with integrity. It starts with culture within the program and all of the hazing stuff I mean, really, are we doing hazing still? Is it 1992 still and we're doing hazing? It just seems to me like their priorities are all in the wrong places. They're not focusing on football. They're focusing on things that are not football centric. So for me, there's a huge problem at Northwestern. I don't see very many things changing this year. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this shit ass team. I'll go ahead and kick us off. I got them only getting 2 wins this year.
I love stats, and I see that they have earned a 4-20 record over the last 2 years. So I'm going to go with the averages. I'm going 2-10.
No, I mean, I've just got them being a powerhouse. Their total wins at 3.5. I've got them winning 50% more games than you guys.
Oh,
give me 3 wins.
4.
3. It does, honestly, y'all, it doesn't matter. We're going to disappoint the Northwestern fan listening to this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Northwestern.
We can all agree they'll be at the bottom.
All right.
Or will they?
We'll see.
Will they?
We're moving on here. We're going to Nebraska. Last year, they earned a record of 4-8, 3-6 in the conference. New head coach Matt Rule debuts. I want to throw this stat out to Parker. Mr. Coach Matt Rule and his debuts combined at Baylor and Temple. He has earned a record of 3-21. Does he do any better here in a debut season?
Yeah, I actually think he does. And the debut season may not have been great for them, but the seasons after that usually were. But this Nebraska team has fallen. There's 6 straight losing seasons. I mean, over the last 9 years, this Nebraska team has one team that they've beaten in the West, that they have a winning record against in the West, and that's game, and that's against Illinois. Like, just thinking back to the 90s, it's just a completely different game. So I think this team should be better. That feels like they're absolutely at their basement. Actually, Matt Rule may have been terrible in the NFL. I think this was a pretty good hire for them.
Matt Rule. Now, let me say this. I think he's a good college coach. You know, there are some people that, you know, they're decent in college. They think they can go be an NFL coach. They find out that it's not all sunshines and rainbows in the NFL, and then they come back and they kind of settle back in. Is Matt Rule going to be that guy at Nebraska? I don't know. Maybe, right? I mean, time will tell. For me, there's just been so much damage done lately over the last, 5 years or so at Nebraska that I don't see them having a winning season again this year. I've got them at 5 wins.
I think we're hesitant to like Matt Rule because everybody, not just us, but everyone was so high on their last hire. And it just spiraled out of control that we're very reluctant to get behind this guy. But he is doing some stuff. They brought in a quarterback, Jeff Sims, from the transfer portal. It may not matter, though. The offensive line looks horrendous. They've got a lot of transfers coming in, which makes these prediction shows incredibly difficult because you don't know how the transfers from these smaller schools are going to impact a bigger school. Defense alone should get better just from coaching because it was so freaking bad. But the biggest help, a lot of people are forgetting about this team because the coaching was so bad. Nebraska was laughable, like last in the freaking college football at special teams. And when you are that bad, it is coaching and coaching alone. So just by bringing someone competent, you've got to be better than the worst team in college football.
Man, I could get on board with that. And I think we can all come together and agree because you mentioned something there. These prediction shows are harder than they've ever been due to this transfer portal situation. It is far more involved now than it ever was. And I don't see it getting any better. And, it's going to be interesting to kind of see how well we can keep up with the moving parts here.
Between the transfer portal and there's just something about when a new coach comes in, and my example will be Illinois. I mean, you get a kind of like a boost. I could see a boost here. I'm going 6 wins, 6 and 6.
Okay. Not a losing season.
Yeah. It's 6.5 is the win total with Vegas. I don't hate the higher. It just depends the schedule, how it falls. It could be difficult. To get over this win total, they'd have to win double what they did last year, kind of like Brad mentioned there. I'm with you. I got them going 6 wins. I looked through their schedule. I don't see how they get to 7.
All right. Fair enough. Next is a team, while doing my studying, a lot of people are kind of high on. And I'm curious to hear your information on this squad. The Wisconsin Badgers last year earned a record of 7 and 6, 4 and 5 in the conference. Coach Luke Fickell is back, and they've added quarterback from SMU.
Mm-hmm. Here we go with
Tanner Mordecai.
Yep,
that guy was covering some spreads last year, man.
Yeah, he was, and so they bring Tanner Mordecai in from SMU. Before that, he was a high recruit at Oklahoma, where he struggled and then went to SMU, completely regenerated it, went back. And this team is going to be so different because on offense for decades, it's been ground and pound for the Badgers, and that is completely about to change because they bring Phil Longo in. He's a new offensive coordinator. He was most recently, if you think about these offenses, at Ole Miss in North Carolina. Think about what they've done over the last 4 years and what traditionally Wisconsin does. So they get an easy schedule to start this out, to get used to this transitional offense. And, man, they are loaded on the offensive line, as you'd expect in Wisconsin, but they're loaded somewhere else that you don't think about when you think Wisconsin football, and that's at wide receiver.
Yep. Totally agree. They have benefited a lot from the transfer portal. Luke Fickell, I mean, look, I suspect he is going to come in and he's going to try to make a statement. He wants everybody to think that he's for real. I think he might be, and I think Wisconsin is the kind of place that someone can go and kind of come from a Cincinnati or somewhere like that and maybe make some noise. I'm really high on Wisconsin this year, guys. I really am. I'm not going to go 10 wins, but I am going to go 9.
Oh, I wrote down, man, they've actually got help from the schedule makers here.
Yep.
Iowa and Ohio State are both at home. They don't have to play Michigan or Penn State at all.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of went conservative and I said 8 wins, but I could see them winning, dare I say 10? But I'm going to go 8. I could see mathematical possibility for 10.
I think between 8 and 10 is a perfect guess. And we were talking about the offense, but guys, their defense is unbelievable. They're bringing back 8 starters from last year's. They're going to be older. They're going to be more experienced. Sure, the 3 that they lost for big-time guys. There's a concern on pass rush. They brought a lot of guys in on transfers. Of all the studying that we've done on these, this is one of the most difficult teams for me to pick because of just the new offensive coordinator things. And I literally just changed it as we're sitting here. I'm going to go with Blake here. I'm going to go with 9 wins. 8.5 is what Vegas is at.
Yeah.
It's amazing that Vegas is usually right on the money with these things. It's very rare that they're off.
Yep.
Next is a team that I had winning the B1G West last year with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Earned a record of 9-4, 5-4 in the conference behind Coach PJ Fleck. Key losses, running back, man, Ibrahim, 1,715 yards, 20 total touchdowns, and 3 starters from their O-line. That spells bad news in my mind.
Yeah, it's tough to lose that kind of production. Really is. Minnesota. You were on the Minnesota train last year.
Hell yeah, I was. I predicted it right here on the show. They were going to win.
You had the Minnesota fans eating out of your hand. You had little graham crackers right here, and they were just nibbling right out of your hand. It was amazing to me. What say you right now? That's what I want to know. I'm interested to hear what Parker has to say first.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he mentioned PJ Fleck, and just worth noting, he's been there for 2 years, and he hasn't beaten my Hawkeyes either year. Just throwing that out there. But they do have back-to-back 9-win seasons. Tanner Morgan is out at quarterback. This is a big guy coming in here, and Kaliak Manis enters the pictures, guys. The Golden Gophers have been so bad at quarterback, the most important position. Eisenhower sent federal troops to Arkansas for integration before they had a quarterback taken an NFL draft in a round that still exists. That was 1957, the great Bobby Cox over there. So I'm just telling you, this has been horrendous, and it actually might change. This kid might actually do it because they're loaded at wide receiver, mainly because of 2 transfer portal guys. I'm going to sound like a broken record talking about the transfer portal, but it is what it is. They also probably have the second best tight end of the country because the number 1 guy is done in Georgia in Brevin Spanford here on Minnesota's team, and the O-line is freaking massive. I'm really excited about the offense.
Wow. Did he change your mind, didn't he?
I mean, I don't know, man.
Picks?
I don't think so. I still don't know. They're going to have to prove it on the field to me. I still got them only getting 6 wins.
I hate the prospect of losing all of that running back production and 3 starters on O-line.
That's a lot,
and
man.
They have to play Michigan and Ohio State this year.
It's a lot. It's a tough schedule.
As much love as I gave you, apparently rightfully so last year, I'm going 6-6 this year. I think you just barely make a bowl game.
You know what? I'll hype them up. I'm going to tear them down. Last year, they were top 10 defense. Let me just tell you, those numbers were fake. It doesn't matter. The pass rush sucked. It's not going to improve. And you just mentioned my final point. Their schedule's absolutely ridiculous. This defense is going to not be able to sustain these numbers. 6.5 is their win total, and I am going to match with you guys. 6 wins.
We're all
Bada
under.
Bang.
I mean, see, he builds it
Bada
up and then he
bang.
comes right back down.
You had a meeting right out of your hand, and you just said, "Get out of here."
The food's off the table.
The f out of here.
Now, this is the team Parker wants to talk about.
Oh
right here.
yeah, he does.
Iowa the Hawkeyes. They earned a record of 8-5, 5-4 in the conference. Coach Kirk. All right, so here I'll set the table, but I'm gonna let him go at it because
I know he wants to talk about
this.
I know he does.
We may even just go right to him. They only averaged 18.7 points per game. I read that coach's son, the offensive coordinator, Mr. Bryan, is on the hot seat. This is the first name that we've mentioned so far in a hot seat, and we know what happens when we mention names.
Let me tell you right now, you better keep your name out of our mouths. That's all I'm saying.
Could he get rid of his only begotten son?
This orange back here, that's from the fire that you will be consumed by if your name gets uttered from our lips.
Oh, my word. So, Parker, if he can't do something with Cade, he's going to be going back home. What do you think?
I think they probably should have got rid of him last year. And you mentioned they're 18 point whatever points per game. This is the only country to average less than 20 points in a game and win more than 6 games. On offense, they were basically last in all meaningful category. Brian Ferentz, you just mentioned, the offensive coordinator for the horrendous showing, the coach's son, did have stipulations put in on his contract for that to be extended. He must average 25 points per game and win at least 7 games.
Uh-oh.
That's real. I'm not making that up. They brought the quarterback in from Michigan and Cade McNamara as he's an upgrade. But I got news for y'all. Yesterday, this is hot off the press, Cade McNamara was hurt on a non-contact play. He was running down the field and just fell down. As of recording this, I don't know what that means. There are some people that say it's not that big of a deal. Some people that say they don't know. I just know knee injury for 2 years and falling down when no one touching you is probably not a good idea. Anyways, they're always loaded at tight end. I love their running back in Caleb Johnson. The offensive line should be better. Basically, my breakdown of their offense is it's got to be better, right? It can't be worse. So that's really good. For what it's worth, they at practice, this is crazy. Go look at some of these videos. Their offense is running 4 and 5 wide. It's something we have never seen from Iowa. It could be something completely different offensively than we've ever seen.
A lot of stuff there, a lot of meat right there for you to digest, folks.
Good
Iowa,
God.
Cade McNamara goes down, no non-contact injury. Like Parker said, those are usually not good news right there. Iowa, what's Vegas saying right now? What are they saying? 8.5?
7.5.
7.5.
They also lost on defense. I know that's their calling card, man.
Yeah.
The holding teams to some ungodly number.
Yeah.
2020, the 2022 Buckus Award winner Jack Campbell gone, Lucas Van Ness gone, Merriweather and Moss all gone, right?
Yeah, all of them gone. And they held 9. You said some ungodly numbers. What it is, they held 9 of their opponents. 9 of them. There's 12 games, y'all. 9 of them to 10 points or fewer.
Yeah.
Like the defense is going to.
Well,
the defense is going to take a step back. They don't have anybody on their defensive line that's a starter that's over 280 pounds. They could struggle to stop the run. And when I say struggle and taking a step back, I just mean like they're going to be a top 15 defense and not the top 2 defense. But hey, on this is such an Iowa thing to say. They got the best punter of the country in Torrey Taylor.
Yeah, of course. There it is.
Not a punter.
Right there. The pride of Iowa. Right there.
I mean, put it inside the 5, baby.
All the time, baby. I'll jump it off, guys. I won't believe it until I see it, but I think this team might actually look different offensively. They have so many games that are like, coin flip games are probably 3 or 4 point favorite type games. But I don't know if you can see, I got a big giant Iowa flag behind me. You may not be able to see it, but hey, give me the over, boys. Give me 8 wins. Iowa, take it to the bank.
Every year we do this. We do our own individual study. I mean, and I'm showing Newberry right here. What does that say right there?
Say?
It says 8.
Look.
I think this is going to be a different kind of Iowa team. But I think that, I don't know how this Cade McNamara thing is going to play out. I don't. But it's going to be interesting to see what was the average? He has to win at least 7 games. Yeah, he's going to get 7. He's even going to get 1 more. He's going to get 8. I don't know if he'll get 25 points a game.
I don't know.
That's pretty strong, but we'll see.
He better stop piling up against Utah State, Iowa State, Western Michigan.
That's an extra touchdown a game than what he did last year. That's a lot.
But they do return all 5 starters at the O-line. I like that.
Whoever's back there will have some time. Allegedly.
It may be their backups if Cade can't stand up.
I wonder if there's anything in that contract about, if the starter goes down. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. I mean, I'm just saying, we need to have contingencies written in.
There is, and it's also it gets really in the weeds about it because like the AD that made him sign that is now there's a new AD there. So would he enforce these things? I'm sure the Iowa people could weigh in and let us know, but I do know there could be some weird stuff with that.
Speaking of weighing in, down there in the comments, let us know what you think about these picks right here.
I mean, we're all going 8-4.
I mean, yeah. Do you think Iowa's really going 8-4? Tell me about this Cade McNamara thing down there in the comments. Is it going to make a big deal or a big difference here?
Are we sleeping on Iowa? Are they really a 10-win team? And we just don't know better.
I don't know. Maybe one of the last 2 teams might sneak up.
They missed it. Last year's the opportunity. If they had just a below average offense, they could have been in the playoffs. Like seriously, that's how good that defense was.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it would have just taken not even an average quarterback, like you said, just somebody.
A team that stepped up last year and surprised many is this next one. Illinois. They earned a record of 8-5, 5-4 in the conference. Coach Brett Bielema. He adds a quarterback from the transfer portal from Ole Miss. Well, tell me about Luke. Because I don't know if I know much about Luke from Ole Miss.
Yeah, Luke Altmaier. Again, y'all, another transfer, right? Every single time we get saying this, y'all, only 3 teams in the freaking Big Ten have their quarterback coming back from last year. I mean, it's all these guys. He's going to be an upgrade. I'll just go ahead and straight tell you that. And it doesn't really matter if he is an upgrade because the offensive line is going to be the strength of this team. So even if they don't bring him in, anybody that's back there, kind of like we were talking about with Iowa, they're going to have some time.
I got to tell you, I'm a fan of Beefy Bielema. I really am, man. I think he's a great hard-nosed coach, former offensive lineman himself. So he's big on the big boys, right? It's hard for me to say, though, because I still am not sold on Illinois in general. I think that they overachieved last year. I don't think that what's Vegas got their win total
6.5.
6.5. I'm going under. I got 6 wins.
I think Vegas is right on the money again. Oh, go ahead, Parker.
No, you're fine. Not only Altmaier got a big offensive line, they've got 4-star recruits coming in at wide receiver at Illinois. Like, think how insane that is to say. And I think they overachieved also, and I think they mainly overachieved because of defense. Last year, they had the number one in college football when it comes to scoring. They had half their games. They allowed single-digit points, but y'all, a lot of this, they lost a lot of people, including Witherspoon. There's just no way the defense runs that hot again. The schedule wasn't very, very good last year, although this year they avoid Ohio State and Michigan. But even with that, it's a much tougher schedule.
Well, he took my one-liner before
There you go. There you go.
Reading my notes.
Is everybody going under?
I put the key losses for me when trying to give them a win total. Defensive coordinator Ryan Walters, he goes to Purdue, a team that we're about to talk about next. Devin, don't call me Devon. Witherspoon to the NFL. It's a baby step back. I'm going 7. One more game than Blake.
Okay.
7.
6.
Newberry's high. Newberry's high on Illinois.
I'm going to drop down to 6, and I even thought about going 5.
Okay.
There you go.
And finally, we have Purdue. Last year earned a record of 8-6, 6-3 in the conference. New head coach Ryan Walters comes in. His mission is to turn around this defense. Last year, they were number 118 in the nation.
I can tell you, as a Tennessee fan, I know what bad defense looks like. Bad defenses get coaches fired. I can tell you that right now. They better straighten that thing up fast because there's nothing that'll make a brand new coach look worse than going out and getting their ass handed to them 42-27 every game. It's going to be tough sledding, I think, this year for Purdue. What do you think, Parker?
I agree. This is probably the shortest notes I have written on anybody. It says new coach, new DC, new OC, new QB, new D-line, new secondary, new kicker. Your guess as good as mine. 5 wins. I just don't know. I don't know what to do with it. There's just too many new parts, and I have no idea. Yeah. You would hope for an easy schedule to start this ridiculousness, because it's like everything's new. We need some time to bond, but it's actually pretty difficult schedule to start with a bunch of other teams that have a lot of questions. So I don't know what to do with them.
I agree.
It's actually ranked it's the 5th hardest schedule in the whole country.
Yeah. Really bad timing to have a brand new crew. I'm with Parker. I'm going 5 wins.
Oh, they add the new OC, Graham Harrell, who's going to bring in the air raid offense from Mike Leach, quarterback.
The late, great Mike Leach, by the way.
Hudson Card. Anybody got any information off of this quarterback from Texas that's coming into Purdue?
Not a fucking clue.
I mean, I know his name, but like, I don't know anything about him. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I know his name. That's I know he's a 4-star guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take way more than a 4-star quarterback, I think, to be able to overcome so many new pieces in a tough schedule. I think it's going to be a tough year for Purdue. I think they'll be doing good to get to that 5 number.
I mean, he did good for when Ewers was out. He came in and subbed in for him in Texas. I just don't know.
There's a reason he's not there still.
Yeah, that's maybe
man. They, in my mind too, they're taking a step back. I'm going bowl eligible 6-6.
Woo! Newberry's high on them.
I think maybe Grant Harrell play just the right card at the right time and get that extra win.
Jesus, 6-6. All right, I got Wisconsin winning the West. What y'all got?
I got Iowa and Wisconsin at 8-4, and Iowa wins the tiebreaker.
Before we started this podcast, had Iowa winning it, and I flipped it to Wisconsin as we were doing this. So I've got Wisconsin. Blake, I got a little sad there, man. I almost every time someone mentions Mike Leach, I forget.
Yeah, man.
I know, man. Hey, his legacy.
We had a little podcast doing.
His legacy lives on in the coaches that are a part of his coaching tree. There are a lot of good ones out there. Mike Leach will always be remembered. But guys, hey, first prediction show in the books, right? B1G West, Big Ten West, the least sexy of all of them out there.
We'll see about that. Hang in there with us. We have to do the ACC. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That Atlantic division isn't necessarily a showstopper for sure. But guys, really appreciate you joining us. Go ahead down in the comments. Tell us what you think about all these predictions. And while you're there, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down low. Share this with all your friends. Pay it forward for us. We're on our quest to 1 quadrillion subscribers, and you can be a part of making it happen.
DDS Nation.
Like and subscribe down there. Gentlemen, we're not going to do final thoughts, but does anybody have anything else to say in closing about the B1G West?
I'm sorry, Minnesota. I couldn't do it again this year. Thanks for riding with me last year, but I think you're just average now.
Yeah, I've got nothing. I don't see a world where anybody in this division comes out of it other than Wisconsin and Iowa. I would be flabbergasted if it was anyone else.
And I just have one thing to say, and it is about Northwestern, because they're really lucky to even get a couple wins this year. But your attitude is reflective of your leadership, folks. It's all about character. College football is a different sport. Thank you guys for joining us today. But until next time, it is Two-Tone Blue all the way. You guys be well.